quick sort of like retro engineer of the site to figure out. It looks to me like the image as you have it here would be good for the press logo wall. I'm sorry, not the press logo wall, the sponsors logo wall. But I'm not sure exactly. The best way is just to look here. Let me just load up Evergreen. I don't know why I don't have the sf.org. Okay. This is an event, I think. Let me just make sure I know what I'm doing. Yep. No, 420 birds. So these are the variants. Is it news? So it's not an event because I know these events posters are not standardized, and that's kind of part of the fun of that page. San Francisco Standard. Okay, so here we go. Wow, lots of news. So good work. This one could be edited. This one too. So let's figure out how this is all working. Probably the best way to do that is just quickly look at these full bleed images. It's like it's 3x4, something like that. And another way to check that more specifically is in our news. I'm just kind of going through the process of how to figure out how it was done, because all of these have sort of different settings. But this is a summary, and when you edit the summary, it's a blog. It's a summary of the blog that's titled News. Let's look at design. So 4x3 is the aspect ratio. That's 4 across by 3 down. Let me look at, this is what I would probably do first, is go to the news blog. So the news blog is here, and we have, we see what's happening here is that these are cut as squares, but what you kind of, I think what I'm generally doing here is this one, because it's so rectangular, I would just upload it as close to square as possible. So let me show you what I mean by that. Because it's a 4x3 aspect ratio, and the image that we're talking about is so long, it's longer than it is tall, wider than it is tall. Let me download it to Evergreen SF. See if there's a news folder here. Okay. So let me open this. I'm going to open it in Photoshop. Okay, so pretty clear that this is a small image. Doesn't really matter. Let's just do our square aspect ratio, and then I'm just gonna bring it as close to full bleed, like as close to the trim line as possible. And the reason for that is when we upload it, there's going to be a 4x3 cut here. So it's kind of a matter of what side is going to be longest and what side is going to be widest. Let's leave it as a JPEG just for fun, or for just for the sake of, because it's already pretty pixelated, there's no need to make it anything else. Okay, here's the original. Here's the square. Generally speaking, I would say if it's if it's a square logo or it's a taller than it is wide logo, which happens in some cases, then you'll want to do something other than square. But let's try and find an example of that. First, we'll just look at it. So yeah, this is like a good example, is like the Fox one. It's the same. It's wider than it is tall, whereas this one, it's probably square. The logo itself is probably square or taller than it is wide. So let's go to the news page, which has a summary. So that's basically, that's that. While we're in here, it might be fun to just kind of look at the news blog again. Let's go to the pages, news blog, and let's look at this nice logo here. It fits here because we're seeing it as a square. The back end of the blog only is set to show us this kind of square thumbnail for each of these. We could probably change that just to so that it would be the same in the blog in the back end as it is in the front end. But there's another way to kind of solve the problem, which is to assume it's generally wide. Let me see, KCRW. Let me just find this logo, KCRW logo, San Francisco. Okay, let's do images, tools, type, clip art. Oh, here we go. Let's just use this. I like the color anyway. So this is 1200 by 1800. We'll save the image as a ping here, as news. And then, because what's happening is probably the original logo, it's the same thing. The original logo that's up there is a square. So in order to make it not get trimmed when it's a 4:3 aspect ratio, which they don't even have here, but we could do 4:6, 4:3, 4:3. What do we want to do? Let's do new crop width height ratio. Let's do 4:3. You don't really have to be this specific, because you know that if you generally crop it as a rectangle, and you give enough space on the left and right, that it's going to crop it. I could do more than this. I could make it, let's just see, if we went like this and then centered the image, then we would still get our crop to come down. I'm not really explaining this right, but let me just put it back to where it was. Well, no, that's fine. This is still 4:3. I guess I'm just kind of a stickler here, so I'll do this. JPEG, that's fine, but since, we don't know exactly what's going to happen to the website, it could always change colors. So let's just make it transparent background, save it in news, replace, and then, we might not even want this image to be changed color. I'm sort of taking that liberty here. I also shaved a little bit off the top of the image, so again, could be a bit better than that. But let's just take a look at what it looks like. Reload the page. Look down here. Okay, so here's a good example. It's a square, but remember that our image, the ping, was cropped to 4:3 or more or less 4:3, like a portrait, landscape orientation. So when a landscape image is cut into a square, it inevitably has this kind of equal symmetry on top and bottom. And in our case, that's going to shave off a bunch of the sides and a little bit of the top and bottom. Then if we reload the news page in the front end, we will see that it does pretty much what we wanted it to do. It just sits there in the middle nicely. We could also do this with lajoya.com. Let's just do it while we're looking here. Settings. I'll find the La Jolla icon. I think I remember doing this one and being slightly distracted. So let me just get back to how I would do this. Is 4:3 ratio. Expand the crop box all the way out so that, when we see it, this is how the summary is going to crop the image. I'm going to save it as a JPEG because it doesn't even have transparency, so there's no point. We'll just call it La Jolla. Remove image, add image, find Jolla. Okay, save. And then again, it may just make it into the square format here. Yeah, it all appears in this square format because it happens to be a taller than it is wide aspect ratio. The image itself is a taller than wide aspect ratio. So here it sits nicely and it's not getting cropped. I like that better than the crop previously. And there's always this solution, which I like, is just ripping an image off the article. Excuse me. So then, let's click on this. Sweet. All right, so that's all set. I don't know if this is a video that anyone needs to review, but it's just sort of a good, you can use that idea in a different situation.